This is the pre-show. I'm Jay Skinner, and we're live. Stick around while everybody gets on board. This is a very important topic today, and I'm sure you'll be benefiting from it as well. Do you recognize that? Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Do not wait until some deed of greatness you may do. Do not wait to shed your light afar. To the many duties ever near you now be true. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Hey, I'm Jay Skinner, and this is the pre-show. We're waiting for everybody to get on board. Hope you enjoyed that little song. Comes from a lot of years ago back at the old Methodist Church in Carthage, Indiana. How about that? And we're live. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here, everyone. This is the Buyers and Sellers Show, and I hope that you brighten the corner where you are every single day. Well, think about that. Those opportunities that come along where all of a sudden inside you feel like, oh, I should share this or share that or help this individual. And all I can do is say, do it. Do it. Brighten the corner where you are all the time. Feel free to do that. You're not going to hurt someone or cause a problem by doing something good and wonderful. That's what I want to encourage you to do today. And remember the silver rule. We're the Buyers and Sellers Show, so we got to remember that. Do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. Think about that. And the green rule is do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. So whatever it is you're selling or doing or promoting, let's be sure you're also practicing what you preach. Anyway, over here in comments is a great place to start. And I want you to jump right in there. And I'm going to put my website in there so that you can see the spot. There we go. Boom. And I want to encourage you, you'll see that pop up. That's the comments area. Please jump right in. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, this is the time to do it. Now, the topic today was about integrity, time, and principled work, sorting it all out in a practical and less stressful way. And this topic came as a result of a very simple question earlier this week. I was there, and a fella came up to me and said, "Hey, Jay, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And we've known each other for a couple of years. And he said, "I have a question." I said, "Well, hit me. What is it?" He said, "How do you pick your topics?" I said, well, that's a good question. I know that to begin with, for a long time, picking my topics was like difficult because I don't always have guests. I like to spend more than half the time when I'm doing my Friday shows talking about topics. And sharing what I know and what I'm thinking and what God's blessed me with in terms of ideas and thoughts that are good for other people. But I remember I asked my wife one time, I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking about what am I going to do this Friday, blah, blah, blah." She said, "Well, what happened this week that was significant, important, you learned from was really big?" And it's like all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, this happened. And so each week, it's almost when I'm picking a topic, a lot of times it's what happened this week. Well, he asked me that question and I explained that to him. He says, "Okay, I got another one." He says, as you're going through life and I'm paraphrasing here, but as you're going through life and doing what you do, um, how do you work through staying principled, your time, keeping your integrity, being consistent with your faith and your belief and how you are, and balancing all of that, balancing all of that. And I thought, wow. And there we go. Greg says the coffee in the green room is good. Glad you like it, Greg. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Um, Greg was on a show several months ago, and he got a chance to taste the green room coffee. Glad you're here, Greg. So, how do you balance all this? Well, one of the things I guess you've heard me say before, and I'm consistent. Work-life balance is like not fair, not right. Probably not possible, especially when you're starting a new company, you're getting things going and you're working hard at whatever you are. I don't know work-life balance is a good thing to talk about exactly. But work-life integrity, consistent with your values and what you believe and what you teach your kids and what you and your spouse believe and what you have in terms of your spiritual insides, your integrity, being consistent throughout all that makes tons of sense, and you can do it. And many of us, myself included, over the years, struggle with that. And I think that's a healthy struggle. Work life balance, at least in terms of time, when you've got a job to do, everybody needs to understand. They just simply need to understand you got to get this done. Oh, excuse me, you got to get this done, and I'll come back to that. And you just share, make sure everybody's part of it and they understand what you're doing and what you're trying to put together. Craig, they ran out of croissants. Yeah, they did that day. That was a bad day. So let's talk about how to approach this in a way that's less stressful and worrisome. And I'm going to start it out with this is just encourage you to say, what do you want? Just exactly what do you want? And what do you want to have happen? What is your desire? What's the desire of your heart? You see, one of the things that I know that if you're in line working on your spiritual life and putting things together, and I'm a Christian, so I follow Jesus and I read the Bible and I pray to one God. And in all of that, I learn a lot. So those are the perspectives that you'll hear me sharing here. Um, but it says, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive, knock and the door shall be opened. God is very, very responsive. There we go. And Greg, thank you for sharing this. It says, when you make it your mission to do the right thing, then selling with integrity is easier. Exactly. And that's the thing that needs to be top of mind. That is exactly what needs to be top of mind. So, in the case like this, what do you want? Well, I want to have integrity. I want to do the right thing. That's top of mind. So, some of you know that that alone is not necessarily the easiest to implement and keep going all the time and for things to happen. And Greg, this is a great conversation. If you cheat on yourself, you just might cheat others. Yeah. That is right. Good wisdom there. So, how do we take this a little further to be more likely to work out for you and kind of reduce the stress and see some progress? State your goals and write them down. State your goals and write them down. Don't be afraid to not only say what you believe and what you want and what you're trying to achieve professionally, personally, and with your family and with your kids and a lot of communication, but write it down as well. Now, I'm going to share something uh, that is very valuable to me and will be with you. I want you to stay with me for the next, it'll be 2.5, 3 minutes here, and get a message for one of the great people who talks about we become what we think about, the almost immortal and wonderful Earl Nightingale. And just watch this. I'm going to have him deliver this message personally to all of us right now. You become what you think about.
We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It's only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. If you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. The great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you will get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. In 3 words, believe and succeed. William Shakespeare put it this way: our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. George Bernard Shaw said, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Well, it's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about, and we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration and fear and anxiety and worry. And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on Earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant. Now, you might say, well, if that's true, why don't people use their minds more? Well, I think they figured out an answer to that one, too. Our mind comes as standard equipment at birth. It's free, and things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country, all these priceless possessions are free. But the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big, important ones. So decide now. Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you'll ever make in your entire life. What is it you want?
Thank you, Earl Nightingale. And I posted on the banners the link in YouTube to the 30-minute version of The Strangest Secret that I would encourage you to listen to even frequently, maybe even daily for a while to understand many different ideas that are timeless about what your mind can conceive and your heart can believe you can achieve. Not Doctor, but Earl Nightingale. And uh, let's see, immediately Greg jumped in and said, Uncle Earl, you bet we know him. So, as you're thinking about this, and I'm talking about this, I want to share something else that's very personal. I talked about writing it down and the value of doing that. Now, if some of you might be like me, I find myself hesitant to ask God for something, to put my wishes and my desires out there in the world, and especially write them down. And it's kind of weird. Maybe you've had this too, but it's like the power of this is so powerful. What if I get it? Is this really what I want? Do I really want to do this? And I literally have found myself reluctant to express my goals for fear that maybe that's not really where I want to go, or that's not really right, or that's not consistent with my values or something. I don't know. Just so I don't do anything. It's almost like analysis paralysis. And I've had this for, a lifetime. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this. Maybe you can let me know I'm not alone on this island, where I know if I write it down and I go for it, I state it, it's going to happen. Very rarely does it not happen, except for in cases where it's simply not the right thing or the best thing or the time is wrong. Now, so give you an example right there. Look at that. Yeah, see this? Look at that. So next week, you're going to get to meet my friend, um, Dr. Blaine Baker, and that's in the Atlas Chiropractic office here in Indianapolis. And he's going to talk to us about his principled business and how he approaches life and things and does things for the benefit of his customers and everyone around him. You're going to love this guy. But at the beginning of the new year, they had a little thing, and anonymously, everybody was able to write down what their goals were for the year. I hadn't done that for ages. So I wrote down I want to weigh 172 pounds. And at that time, I was on the scales at about 193 to 95. I wanted to take an international trip, and I wanted to grow my business, do better at that. And I wrote it down there, and they put it on their thing, their wall, there in their office, along with really it looked like hundreds of others by their patients. And you know what? It's the end of February right now. And my goal for 172 pounds, well, I'm at 179 already. How'd that happen? And my goal for international travel, I'm already talking to the travel agent, putting plans in place for my wife and I to take a trip to Israel, October, November this year. We're just about ready to buy our plane tickets and everything. And then number 3 that was on that list was grow my business. People are coming up to me and asking me about business things more than ever since I wrote that. The phone's ringing and more things are happening than ever just since I wrote that. Now, what about you? Did you write something? Now, if you didn't, there's a Bible verse that applies. You have not because you ask not. James 4, chapter 4, verse 2. You have not because you ask not. Like I said, I've been guilty of that. I tend to be shy about asking God and putting this out there for something to happen, especially things that are like personal, small, or has to do with things. God says, hey, do it. Ask me. And then the final part of all this, the most important part, I think, in some ways, after you write it down, after you ask, after you seek, knock, is relax and give him a chance to work. Wow. Just relax and give him a chance to work in your life and watch things happen. Now, I had a very interesting thing happen to me is we were putting in tile, but we were taking out tile, ceramic tile, to put in some more LVP. And it's in there strong. Karen and I are working very hard, taking this stuff out. We come up with a method and everything. It's wonderful. But it was still grueling, heavy, hard work. And we're talking about 1,400 square feet of this stuff in multiple rooms through our house. In the final room, finally, on the last day that we were doing this, after doing it over time, I got about 15 square feet left. And it was in the area of the room that I already knew was glued down extra strong. I mean, stuck down with that mortar and the thin set and the concrete board and everything's like, oh, the cement board. And I knew that this was the hardest area of tile to take out because we'd already experienced some in that area. And I prayed, I said, God, please work a miracle. Help this stuff come out easily. I just can't hardly take it anymore. And you know what? As I look back on that, and that was just a little over a week ago, I can barely remember the next couple hours that I spent taking out that tile with my wife. It's like it came out easier than I could ever have dreamed of. And it's like my prayer was answered, almost miraculous. I was so happy we got to the end of it. And it's like I even cut around one of the legs of the piano. And then after the piano was moved, I kicked that piece and it just scooted out. It's like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Now, do you have a story where something wonderful's happened because you've prayed it, you've asked for it, you've want something to happen? Like I talk about today. It's business goals, it's life goals. Maybe it's just I need guidance on how to keep my integrity throughout my work, with my kids, with my family. Now I'll go back, my work-life balance, yeah, kind of, but you know that that's difficult in order to do what you need to do, so call it something else. Communication with my family, let's all working together to get a job done. Maybe they just need to understand what you need to do in order to make the money so you can afford to go to Disney World. Maybe they don't have a full appreciation of what's involved there, and help them have it. And everybody work together. And I'll tell you something I used to do when I had kids at home, teenagers and younger. When I got a bonus, they got a bonus. When I had a great month, I'd surprise them with some money. They felt invested in what I was doing. Think about that. Think about that. Help your family share as you're growing and going and good things are happening. And when bad things are happening, have them share with you in the prayers for guidance. And you can ask God to lift the burden from you as well. How about that? So think about that. I don't want you to forget this because I am guilty. And I think many of us are. And relax and give him a chance to work. You will find, if you follow these steps and these ideas that are consistent with the Bible and every other religion in the world, that you will find some success like you've never found it in achieving peace of mind like you've never had it. How about some of that? And that's about integrity, time, and principled work. Everyone, I'm so happy you came today to join me in this talk. If you have any other questions, comments, suggestions, I'm at your service. There's my phone number, 317-922-7526. My website is thejejayskinner.com. Encourage you to get on there, see what I do. I've got the plastic pallet business. I also do the CEO extender, and I work for business owners to help them get projects done that they just don't have time to get done themselves. And I'm, it's like I'm part-time. It's done. You don't hire me forever. I just jump in there and as an extension of yourself, help you get things done. And I'd love to talk to you about what that might look like and what projects not getting done because you just don't have the time, and see if I might be able to help you with that. Anyway, I love you. I'm so thankful for you. And I want you to do this week somewhere, maybe everywhere you go. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Whoa, someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Let your light shine before men. Have a great week. I'll see you next Friday. Wow, what a great week it's going to be. Thanks for coming. Bye now.